Some truly tragic news has just hit the music world. The rising rapper Luci4, who was a total game changer in the underground scene, has died. He was just 23 years old, and his death has left millions of his fans absolutely stunned and grappling with some very serious questions.
You know, this whole thing is really a story with two completely different sides. On one hand, you've got the incredible rise of a viral music star, and on the other, you have the sudden and frankly mysterious circumstances of his death. So let's try to break down both sides of this and see what's going on.
So first up, who was Luci4? Because to really get the weight of this loss, you first have to understand the massive impact he was having on music.
All right, so his real name was James Deere, born right here in Los Angeles. But you probably knew him as Luci4, or maybe by his other aliases like Axdrill and 4J. And at just 23, he had already built this reputation as a true pioneer in the modern underground scene.
He was a huge part of creating this whole new genre called Sigilkore. Now, if you're not familiar, it's this really unique experimental mix of trap, electronic, and cloud rap. It has this distorted, almost chaotic sound that somehow perfectly captured the feeling of being hyper online. And that's exactly why it just blew up on platforms like SoundCloud and TikTok. It really became the soundtrack for a whole new generation.
In his career, it just took off like a rocket. After helping pioneer the genre on SoundCloud, his single BodyPartz went gold in 2024. Then, just a year later, he signs with a major label, Atlantic Records. And by 2026, he's already dropping new music. I mean, his career trajectory was just pointing straight to the top.
But that incredible rise is precisely what makes the circumstances of his death so shocking. This is where the story takes a dark turn, and it's one that leaves us with way more questions than answers. This is the big question on everyone's mind. What exactly happened on that day? Because the details we have so far, well, they paint a really concerning picture. So here's what we know officially from the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. James Deere was found at a friend's house. An emergency call was made late that morning, but by the time paramedics arrived, he was already deceased. And here's the crucial part. The official cause of death has not been released, and no arrests have been made. And this is where things get even more unsettling. His grandparents have come out and said that his wallet was completely empty when he was found. They also voiced concerns about the kind of people he was spending time with as his fame got bigger. This adds a really personal and suspicious layer to the whole investigation. Of course, the news sent immediate shockwaves through his fan base and the entire music community. The reaction has just been overwhelming, and it really shows you just how many people his work had reached. I mean, social media was just instantly flooded with tributes. Messages of heartbreak just poured in, from people who literally just discovered him through BodyPartz to fans who were there from the very beginning. People are sharing how he shaped their taste in music, creating tribute mixes, just doing anything they can to honor his art. This quote from one of his managers just captures what the whole industry is feeling. He wasn't just another artist to them. He was seen as a leader, a true genius whose influence was really just getting started. I think the consensus is that his sound was totally unique and completely irreplaceable. So with all this grief and all this suspicion, what happens now? Well, the focus really turns to the official investigation, which will hopefully give us some clarity. The Los Angeles Police Department is now completely focused on finding answers. Investigators are going to be reviewing all the evidence they can find and interviewing people who were close to Luci4. But the most important step, the one we're all waiting on, will be the results from the autopsy and toxicology reports. Those are going to be critical in figuring out the official cause of death. So, while that investigation continues, the music world is left grieving an undeniable talent who was gone far too soon. And it really forces you to ask, beyond the tragic headlines and all the unanswered questions, what is the lasting legacy of Luci4's groundbreaking music going to be?